What's up, guys? Welcome to the Stats Free Sports channel. Here to give you my week 2 picks for the 2023 NFL season. But before we get into that, let's talk about my week 1 picks and a recap of that. I went 11-5 for last week. My lock of the week, which was the Ravens versus Texans, excuse me. I had the Ravens winning. I'm 1-0 on my locks. I won that game pretty easily. And then 11-5 for the entire week. I was very confident watching the games, but I was surprised by a couple losses that I took. One, the major one being my Super Bowl pick being the Seahawks. They lost to the daggone Rams. So if you don't know, my Super Bowl pick this year is the Browns versus the Seahawks. A little out there, a little different, a little, no, not the normal pick, the number 2 team that you see there, but I do believe in that pick. At least one will get there, and probably it's looking like probably will be the Browns. But the Seahawks lost to the Rams. That definitely had me a little confused. Vikings lost to the Buccaneers. Didn't see that one happening. And then the major one, I'm not surprised it happened, but the way it happened, the Giants lost to the Cowboys 40-0 is insane. I had the Giants winning that game by 3 points, so I was way, way off in that outcome there. But on to week 2, game tomorrow: Philadelphia Eagles versus the Minnesota Vikings. I have the Philadelphia Eagles going 2-0. Just too much, offense is too much for the Eagles. Three good running backs plus Jalen Hurts, AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, Goddard. The list, great O line. The Vikings have slim to no chance of winning this matchup, no matter what Justin Jefferson does. So he can go for 10 catches for 230 yards and still won't matter. So and plus that the defense for the Eagles, that interior pass rush, and not even the outside pass rush, but the interior pass rush. That's going to cause so much problems for Kirk Cousins. Oh my! And I feel so bad for Kirk. Last year he was one of the most hit. I think he was the most hit quarterback last year, and that might continue. The O line didn't get that much better, and this Eagles interior is going to be a problem. So I definitely expect the Eagles to probably stump on the Minnesota Vikings for the most part. So I have the Eagles win in a clear victory here. Next up, I'm gonna start with my Atlanta Falcons. It's a 1 o'clock game. My Atlanta Falcons play the Green Bay Packers. Super tough game, super tough to call. No bias here, but I'm gonna go with my Falcons. I like our team a little bit more. I think our offense is a little bit more not dynamic, but more balanced. I like our defense. Like I said, it's a super tough game. Whatever the spread is, probably 2.5, 3 points. It's gonna come down to the wire. I don't see this being a blowout game either way. And I'm a big fan of the Packers. I like Jordan Love a lot. I like Romeo Dobbs. I hope Christian Watson plays for my fantasy team. You know, but I do expect it to be a pretty good game, maybe a defensive battle. But I do think our offense has just enough to beat this Packers team, but it is going to be close. Aaron Jones could win rush out on us. It definitely is possible. AJ Dillon could do the same too. So, but we have Bijan, we have Tyler Algier. So, like I said, it should be a tough game, should be a close game. But I'm gonna edge it to my Falcons simply because I do like Ritter a little bit more than I like Love as of right now. It is week 2, it is early, so um, I'm going with my Falcons for that reason. Number 2 on my list, Buffalo Bills versus Vegas Raiders. This is my lock of the week. Stamp it right here. Buffalo Bills will beat the Raiders. They're going to be on irritation mode. They're going to be pissed off that they lost to the Jets without Aaron Rodgers. They lost to Zach Wilson 2 years straight. They are going to be pumped up for this one, even on a short week. Well, it was Monday Night Football, so not really a short week, but well, kind of a short week. But I do have the Buffalo Bills beating the Vegas Raiders. I think they're going to trounce. I think they're going to put pause on them. I think it's going to be probably by 10 plus points. I think the Buffalo Bills will come out very angry and upset that they lost to the Jets. Next up, Baltimore Ravens versus the Cincinnati Bengals. I don't trust Lamar. I don't really love their new scheme. Lamar played okay, but wasn't great. Like I said, it's only game. It was last week. Was only week 1, so I'm not going to judge it too hard. But I don't like Lamar under center. I really, truly don't. The Bengals got whooped on by the Browns, which I called last week. Burrow didn't play good at all. This Ravens defense, well, this Ravens team took 2 hits, one being Marcus Williams at safety and the other being J.K. Dobbins. So I had the Bengals going here. I think they're going to make up for last week. They're going to start the season 1-1. And I think they're going to beat the Ravens in this matchup here in Cincinnati. Next up, my Super Bowl pick for the NFC, Seattle versus Detroit. I have Detroit winning. Seattle, they disappoint me very badly. I'm not going to lie to you. I just think Detroit has too much offense, and they have an improved defense too. And I hope Seattle wins. Clearly for my Super Bowl prediction, but Geno has to prove it to me, man. He didn't look good versus the Rams at all. If you go back to his last 7 games, back to last season, he didn't look good either, except for the first half of the season last year. So, Geno got to prove it to me. So I hope he proves me wrong. But I have the Lions beating the Seattle Seahawks. I think my Seahawks will drop 2-0, 0-2, and I think the Detroit Lions will go up 2-0. And this game is in Detroit. Jared Goff has been balling lately, been looking pretty good. Look good versus the Chiefs. The Seahawks defense might not be as aggressive as the Chiefs were. We'll see, but I do have Detroit winning this matchup. Next up, Chargers versus Tennessee Titans. If you follow my channel at all, I've been saying all year the Titans will struggle, and I have them struggling once again. I had them being 0-2. Chargers lost a super close game, lost a shootout with the Miami Dolphins. And if this game is a shootout, I don't see it being that close like last week's was. The Titans don't have the offensive firepower to get it done. Ryan Tannehill threw for three interceptions. As I said in my recap of Week 1, Tannehill should have thrown about 5 or 6. Some were dropped, some were batted away instead of being picked off. He should have thrown about 5 or 6 picks. He kept the ball in harm's way. I think the Chargers will first force turnovers, and they're going to make him throw at least 2 more picks in this matchup here. So I have the Chargers by a pretty wide margin, probably 10 plus points to be safe with it. But I could see definitely 2 touchdown win for this Charger squad. Tampa Bay versus Chicago next. Pretty close game. Looking at Chicago played the Packers. They didn't look that improved to me. Chase Claypool put up a disgusting effort. If you saw his plays, I forgot what Twitter account was showing all his plays, and he just was doing no effort, guys. DJ Moore only got like 2 or 3 passes. They didn't look good at all. It's like I said, Week 1 you can't take everything as is. Week 1s are always tricky. People are always trying to get a feel for themselves, their team. So and the new scheme they're running in also. So I understand that, but just looking at the Chicago Bears, they didn't look good at all Week 1. They looked like the same team from last year, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they look pretty solid. Baker isn't great. We all know that, but he can do enough. He does have weapons. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, O-line is shot. It's crazy because that Brady team from a couple years ago, the O-line was pretty solid. And now you have Jensen going. You have a couple other guys going also via free agency and being retired. The O-line for the Bucs is not good. But I think they have enough right now to beat the Chicago Bears. I have the Buccaneers in this matchup here. And it's in Tampa, so I have Tampa Bay win this matchup. Next, should be a good one. Kansas City Chiefs versus Jacksonville Jaguars. I have no words on Travis Kelce yet. I don't know if he's playing or not. But Chris Jones should be back. He signed that 1-year extension. So he'll be back. Jacksonville looked pretty solid. Won a close one versus the Colts. Calvin Ridley came back looking amazing. I did not think he would look that good coming back missing 2 years, but he looked very good, looked sharp, looked fast, great hands. But I'll give it to the Kansas City Chiefs. I think they come back. They're not going to go 0-2. Can't see it happening. I'll be well, you know what? I won't be surprised, but I'll be a little shocked. Kinda. But the same token, I'm not a fan of the Chiefs. As I said before, I had the Browns winning the AFC. I think the Chiefs need a number 1 overall wide receiver. And if Kelce doesn't play, they're gonna need someone to fill that role. And last week, excuse me, versus the Lions, we saw no one showed up. Sky Moore, Kadarius Toney, Justin Watson, the list goes on. No one could fill that top dog role. That's why I think, and I've been saying this all off season. I did prediction videos on it. They should have brought in DeAndre Hopkins, but didn't happen. They went with the young guys instead, so they kind of stuck with it. So we'll see who they tend to if Kelce doesn't play, or if a team like the Jaguars can take away Kelce, they'll double him, triple him, they bracket coverage him. Who can beat them? If you take away Kelce, can MVS do it? Can he step up? Can Justin Ross do it? Can he step up? So we'll see how it goes, but I do have some way somehow the Kansas City Chiefs winning this matchup versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. This matchup is in Jacksonville, but the Chiefs, in my opinion, will go on the road and win. Next up, a battle of rookie quarterbacks: the Colts at Houston. I have the Colts. I think they look the better of the two teams. The Texans lost to the Ravens, put up a decent effort, and the Colts lost to the Jacksonville Jaguars, had a pretty decent effort also. I have the Colts winning this matchup here, the battle of the quarterbacks. I'm not saying Richardson will play better than Stroud or look better than Stroud, but I do have the Colts as an overall better team right now than the Houston Texans. So I have the Colts winning this matchup here. Next up, San Francisco 49ers at Rams. Could this be a sneaky loss for the 49ers? I don't think so. I don't think the Niners are a team like the Seahawks. They're not going to play with their food. Brock Purdy looked pretty solid still from last year. It was a good carry-on game from last year. Looked the same. Smart, high IQ, great game manager. Put the ball in the perfect spots for the most part. Brandon Ayuk looks like he's going to step up to be a number one guy this year. Debo looks solid. Kittle didn't get the ball much, but I expected to change during this game. So I do have the Rams losing to the Niners. Rams go 1-1, and the Niners go 2-0. Next up, the Giants at Arizona. I have the Giants. I think they're going to be on a revenge game. They got embarrassed. They got whooped on, and they will be playing in good weather. It was rain in New York the other day for Sunday Night Football. So I think they are going to be in Arizona in good weather. Well, I think Arizona has a closed stadium, so they're going to have no weather concerns during their matchup. I think they're gonna run roughshod over the Cardinals. I'm calling by like 21. They're gonna win by 14, 17, 21. They're gonna win by a nice amount of points, at least 2 touchdowns. I think they're gonna go crazy on them. I really do. They're gonna be pissed off about what happened versus Dallas. And speaking of Dallas, next up, the Jets are at Dallas. Zach Wilson, the starting quarterback, versus the Dallas Cowboys. Pretty easy win for me. Dallas and Dak might throw a couple interceptions, might get a couple turnovers, but I still think in the long run they're going to beat this New York Jets team. It might be closer than what we think, but I do think Dallas will win this matchup pretty easily. Next up, Washington at Denver. Kind of a tricky one. Sam Howell, to me, in his first game versus the Cardinals, didn't look great, honestly. Kind of surprised he looked that bad. But the Cardinals played well. They played tough. They played well. They were resilient. Good pass rush from the young pass rushers off the edge. And I think the Denver Broncos give them problems. And Russ looked pretty good. Cortland Sutton scored a touchdown. Marvin Mims did like a 1 or 2 catches here or there. Some that I don't like at all about the Broncos, Greg Dulcich. He is out, I think, with a hamstring injury, out for the next couple of weeks. So that's kind of tough there. But they do have Adam Troutman, who Sean Payton traded for from the Saints this offseason. I'm going to give this one to the Denver Broncos. I think Russ played enough. He played well enough last week to give me some confidence. Bring it to this week. I know the Commanders have a good front four, but I do think Denver wins this matchup in a pretty close game. But I think Sam Howell, he got to show me. He got to show me that he can be better than what he was last week versus the sorry Cardinals. And that game was too close for comfort. If you're a Commanders fan, I know it's week 1. Things happen. Things get crazy. But Sam didn't look that good. So we'll see where it goes from here. But I like the Broncos at home to defeat the Washington Commanders. It'd be tough for me to say the Broncos lose 2 games back to back while at home. I don't see it happening, at least not to Washington for this scenario here. Next up, Miami Dolphins versus the Saints. I have Miami. Derek Carr didn't look that great. It was okay. The defense of the Saints could give Tua's problems. I love their cornerbacks. Alante Taylor. Uh, what's the guy from Ohio State? The stud they have. I forgot Marcus. Not Davenport. I forgot his name now, but the star on Lattimore, Marcus Lattimore. The whole crew. Tyrann Mathieu for the Saints. Demario Davis. No, that Cam Jordan. Those guys could give the Saints a little problem on defense, but I will say this: the Dolphins. I mean, excuse me, the Saints defense. Those guys could cause problems for Tua in that offense. But it was all said and done, I think too much firepower. Waddle, Hill, all those guys there. I'm giving it to Miami, probably about a 7 point game. Then I I wouldn't be surprised if the Saints have had the ball last and pushing the score, but that defense for the Dolphins are pretty. No, they aren't great, but they are timely. And I think that Vic Fangio defense will do enough just to slow down Derek Carr and that Saints offense that can be good. I love Jamal Williams, Michael Thomas, Chris Olave. They're going to do their thing, especially with no Jalen Ramsey there. But I think there's too much firepower for that Dolphins offense for a lot of teams to kind of keep up with. Excuse me, I am wrong. I take it back. Miami's playing New England. Sorry about that. So this scrap all that. I read my own notes wrong. Miami's playing New England next. Kind of same story. Defense will be tough for the Patriots, but they won't have enough to slow down Miami when it matters most. So I'll take it back. All that I said earlier about the Saints and the Dolphins, I take it back. It's actually Dolphins versus New England. Now, Miami, excuse me, New Orleans versus Carolina in an NFC South matchup on Monday Night Football coming on at 7:15. I had New Orleans. Like I said before last week, and I was correct. The rookie quarterbacks will start off kind of slow, which normally they always do for the most part, unless you're like Cam or somebody. But I think Bryce looked pretty comfortable at certain moments versus us, but that Saints defense will probably give him fits. Demario Davis, Cam Thomas, Cam Jordan, excuse me, everyone I named in the Miami scenario, they're going to give Miami, excuse me, I can't even talk right now. They're going to give New Orleans fits, and Bryce Young being a rookie quarterback. Will Thielen play this game? We'll see. Did Thielen even play versus us? If he was very quiet. I know DJ Chalk didn't play. I don't remember Thielen playing or not. But if he did, he didn't have too much impact. Miles Sanders was okay. Chuba was okay. But as I said, I think that Saints defense is going to cause them problems. And with no J.C. Horn for the Panthers, he's out for a couple of weeks now, and he can't seem to stay healthy. Some people think Horn can be the best in the league as far as the lockdown corners go, but he can't stay healthy. Been in the league for a couple of years now, and just can't give you a consistent, healthy year. So that's tough there. And the last game of the Monday Night Football matchups and last game for the week 2, Cleveland Brown versus Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh laid a dud last week. Super upset at them. I had them covering plus 2.5 over the Niners, and they got blown out. The score was a little closer than what it actually was. The Niners just demolished them from start to finish. Like it was terrible. And Cleveland, as I said earlier, the Cleveland and Seahawks are my NFL prediction of Super Bowl. Cleveland looked good last week versus the Bengals, who they had their number the last couple of years, especially since they drafted Joe Burrow. They've had that number and only lost to Joe Burrow once, I believe, out of 6 tries or 7 tries now. I think they have Pittsburgh number also. I have Cleveland being a force. That defense is very tough, and Deshaun Watson's arm doesn't look the greatest, but him running and him improvising and stuff for right now will kind of help out the team for the most part. But once his arm gets on track and him and receivers get on track and get a good chemistry, they're going to be a problem. As of right now, his arm isn't the greatest. The accuracy isn't there all the way yet, like we used to see from Houston, Deshaun Watson. Can it come back? I'm hoping so, just for my pick purposes. But I do think that defense for the Browns will step up and carry them if Deshaun and the offense can't. So those are my picks there, guys. I'm going to run through them one more time. Philly over Minnesota, Atlanta over Green Bay, Buffalo over Vegas, Cincinnati over Baltimore, Detroit over Seattle, Chargers versus over Tennessee, Tampa over Chicago, Kansas City over Jacksonville, Colts over Texans, Niners over Rams, Giants over Cardinals, Dallas Cowboys over Jets, Broncos over Commanders, Dolphins over Patriots. Did it again. Saints over Panthers, and then Dolphins over Patriots, Saints over Panthers, and then Browns over the Steelers. Those are my winners, guys, and my lock of the week is Buffalo over Vegas. So that's it for the video, guys. Like, share, comment, subscribe. I will see you guys next time.